And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, for your semi-final matchup of Gym Challenge Fall number 2 here at Cycles that are Collectibles Regulation E format for the Teal Mask DLC. My name is Coronel. Once again, joining me is Dennis Geisler, and we have a Ninetales battle incoming, don't we?
Yeah, we sure do. Alolan Ninetales for Allan and Kanto and Ninetales for Anthony. Both of these teams we saw earlier today, making it even more interesting of a matchup.
We haven't seen Allan since the first round of the tournament, and we didn't see Anthony until just this top cut phase. And now we're here in the semifinal. We got snow versus sun, summer versus winter.
Yeah, indeed. Although we were talking about it before. Allan's side, Alolan Ninetales, Rillaboom, Iron Bundle, Ogerpon Hearthflame, Urshifu Rapid Strike, Landorus Therian. Anthony's side, Kanto and Ninetales, Tornadus Incarnate, Ogerpon Hearthflame, Iron Hands, Fluttermane, Landorus Therian. I think the big issue is that you kind of struggle as Allan to consistently get snow up in the face of Tornadus with that sunny day with the Prankster, because basically no matter what, there is an opportunity for Anthony to overwrite your snow basically whenever you get it down. Unless you can deal with the Tornadus quickly, which I think might be the part of the plan here.
You hear a couple things going on here. It's going to be Ogerpons for each side of the field, except we have a Landorus Therian for Anthony, and Allan has the Iron Bundle, so both sides foregoing weather and want to do it on a switch in more than likely, which is pretty smart to do because you want to have the weather control when you want it to, and just to make sure Tornadus doesn't end up being a factor.
Yeah, both sides potentially have weather to switch in later, but neither with weather right now. Iron Bundle is currently threatening the most damage out of everything here.
It looks like
definitely has serious damage against each of these
Allan's going to swing first. Allan's going to swing first with the weather.
Indeed. Switch out on the Ogerpon.
Into the Alolan Ninetales, so now there's going to be a big defense boost for all the Ice-type Pokemon in play thanks to Snow Warning, but did Anthony swing with his weather control as well? We see a Terastallization come out. This is Anthony's Terastallization first, so does this look like to be the Ogerpon or the Landorus Therian? It's going to be the Ogerpon Hearthflame form, now going to take the mask into its right form and give it that Embody Aspect attack boost.
Alright, we'll see what this Iron Bundle does up into this Ogerpon. It is going to absolutely shred through this Landorus, I think.
Landorus
protect, which is a smart move to not get totally shredded
by this Iron Bundle. Which did opt to go for the Blizzard, but because now Ogerpon's a pure fire type, it's no longer in neutral standpoint. But Ogerpon takes a decent amount of damage from that attack. Ivy Culture going in. I mean, it's +1, so it should take the knockout even for the snow boost. Go straight into this Iron Bundle, going in a neutral, a critical hit because of its high critical hit ratio. Who knows if that mattered because of that snow boost, but it was a +1 attack.
Yeah, and that's the Ogerpon special. You just do a bunch of damage. You don't even need to be in Sun. You can just get that +1 attack. Terastallization, Terra Fire, Ivy Cudgel with that damage amplifier. You just kind of destroy that Iron Bundle, and now it's going to be rough for Allan to get back into this one because that Ogerpon is really difficult to deal with now. It does mean that Allan was able to switch his Ogerpon back in, which now allows him to also not have the Intimidate drop that it had from the Landorus before.
It's very important indeed to not have that Intimidate go against you, because if that Intimidate actually ends up affecting the Ogerpon, it's going to be a +1. No, it would be a neutral attack if it went for the Terastallization. But yeah, now, exactly. This Ninetales is in a bit of a predicament because there could be an opposing Ninetales from Anthony switching into potentially make the Blizzard 50% accuracy. But also, if it just stays in here, which is not going to be happening with this Landorus because it doesn't want to get hit with a one-hit knockout, and it is going to be a Fluttermane coming in. Apparently, that Fluttermane graduated from something because it is a scholarly Fluttermane.
Fluttermane the Scholar. And
Terastallization from this Ogerpon from Allan.
Will be the matched Terrafire Hearthflame Ogerpon. A sign of things to come in the future of Regulation E.
Who knows?
Much to think about.
A lot to think about here. I think this Ivy Cudgel actually did go into Anthony's Ogerpon, if I had to take a guess. And here's Anthony's Ogerpon going first here, goes into this Ninetales with his +1 attack boost. Yeah, no snow boost is going to save it.
Yeah, that's gone.
And another critical hit.
Another critical hit. I don't think that one mattered. I'm pretty sure that one didn't matter. But still, the critical hits on this Ivy Cudgel are ridiculous.
As another one comes out, is Ivy Cudgel to an Ogerpon Heartflame from Allan. Almost enough to knock out the Ogerpon, and that was not a critical hit.
That wasn't a critical hit. That was so much damage. I honestly thought it was. That was a ton of damage, and now you have some options here if you are Allan. That is probably an Ogerpon that is going to click Spiky Shield right now on such low health. And so now you have to consider what Flutter Mane might do, or what you can do into Flutter Mane, try to prevent. Alright, it'll just be the Flutter Mane leaving. Not a bad idea if you can bring Landorus in here. Yeah, you get the Intimidate on both of these Pokemon. These are the 2 remaining Pokemon, so the -1 on each is very beneficial.
Especially since that Ogerpon now goes down to a neutral standpoint after the Heartflame boost on the body aspect. Ogerpon does go for the Spiky Shield as Rillaboom goes for Grassy Glide into this Ogerpon. If it's a contact move, it is going to take some damage in return. Grassy Glide does turn out to be a contact move after all.
You, like, slide
and Ivy Cudgel goes into the Flutter Mane slot. I believe it should still do a good amount of damage to Anthony's Landorus here. A critical hit.
Critical hit. And another one-hit KO on this Ivy Cudgel. That's 3 Ivy Cudgel critical hits in one battle. Ogerpon does get a tiny bit of health back, as does the Rillaboom. Both of those had some, well, Rillaboom just got some chip damage from the Spiky Shield. But yeah, now I think the big issue is the Flutter Mane. Excuse me, the Tornadus is still here and around.
Sunny Day is looking really good right now for Anthony if he clicks on it, you know. Actually, no, not a negative. No, it's still good to click because of the Flutter Mane in the back.
Yeah,
but
it's not bad.
Yeah, Ogerpon though still in trouble.
Yeah, Ogerpon's very in trouble. Grassy Glide is going to finish off Ogerpon almost certainly. The question ends up being, Grassy Glide does finish it off. The question now is, what does Tornadus do, and how much does it take against an Ivy Cudgel here? Because it takes a little bit of damage against an Ivy Cudgel.
It also depends on whether or not the Tornadus went for a priority move. No priority move. It didn't go for a Sunny Day.
Must have gone for Bleakwind.
It must have gone for the Bleakwind Storm. How much does Ivy just doing at neutral? Not enough to take out the Tornadus. Bleakwind Storm missed something at the very minimum. It missed the Rillaboom. Does it the Ogerpon? If it gets a speed, this doesn't really get a speed drop right now. It does not get a speed drop.
Not get the speed drop. Rillaboom back up to full health. Ogerpon with some health back, and now Flutter Mane basically in charge of taking out the rest of this battle. I think the answer for right now for Anthony has to be getting the Sunny Day set up regardless and still trying to do something with this Flutter Mane. Yeah, and the Flutter Mane has a lot to deal with now because you have to.
Grassy Glide from Ogerpon goes into the Flutter Mane, not enough for a one-hit knockout. Sunny Day now comes out from the Tornadus of Anthony, as now it's going to activate the Photosynthesis for this Flutter Mane, which I believe was a speed booster. No, special attack.
Yeah.
Special attack booster for Anthony's, and the double Grassy Glide.
Yeah. The double Grassy Glide into the Flutter Mane was very smart. Nothing that Flutter Mane could have done. And I think that'll be about it for this battle. I'd be shocked to see Tornadus get through the next attack, let alone finishing it off. And Allan wins game number 1.
Wow, Grassy Glide still is powerful to this day, and even with the nerf, all it takes is a high attack power like that Ogerpon just to make it beneficial. And this is another trend for most Ogerpons nowadays. If you have a Rillaboom in the same team as Ogerpon, what do you have to lose by not putting Grassy Glide?
Well, and that's the thing, is that there aren't a whole lot of Pokemon in the Regulation E meta that are going to set up terrain other than Rillaboom. And on top of that...
And the occasional Indeedee.
The occasional Indeedee, that is true. But even still, Rillaboom is quite a bit more common, and only really the Ice Spinner consistently takes out the terrain or changes the terrain, and Rillaboom can kind of cycle in and out. So regardless, that Grassy Glide, where I'm going with that is regardless, the Grassy Glide is more often than not going to have that priority, and that is the exact instance where you want that priority, where the Flutter Mane, and especially with Flutter Mane being so popular, you do so much damage to Flutter Mane with Grassy Glide. It doesn't matter if the damage is down to 55 base power, you still do a ton of damage because Flutter Mane has paper thin HP and defense.
Yeah, and that's just Flutter Mane having that visual defense stat being very low, even though it can take some special hits. It's really just a lot more frailer than a Spectrier in the past has been. But if you're Allan here, you really... okay, well, first of all, Anthony did not bring his own Kanto Ninetales, so he didn't have Drought available to him, but he did have the Tornadus, which did help him out in the end.
Yeah.
But the problem for that game, honestly, was not getting that Aurora Veil up at all.
Yeah, I mean, Allan didn't really get a whole lot done with the snow.
It wasn't overall a problem because the snow did get some chip damage in, even though he did manage to win that game. I feel like Anthony just did not take advantage of his weather. Yeah,
Anthony didn't really have an opportunity to get weather set up, and Allan didn't really do a whole lot with the weather. All it was a blizzard. Either way, things are going to change a bit here. Your Shifu and the Rillaboom lead from Allan. I've not seen Urshifu a whole lot today.
And from Anthony, we see Tornadus Flutter Mane in a more typical coming lead, so a bit of an option play for Anthony as he has Tailwind available. He has, well, hold on. I mean, if he has Cobra Cloak, actually, so it's Cobra Cloak. So Fake Out won't do much anything to Tornadus of Anthony, so he can get a Tailwind up to get the speed control. He could get Photosynthesis up with the Sunny Day, potentially weaken that Surging Strikes.
Yeah, and in any case, yeah, the Sunny Day would be good against the Urshifu, although at the same time, even through Sun, Surging Strikes is still going to do quite a bit of damage. And you do have to be concerned about the Snow Warning, Alola Ninetales in the back potentially coming in and dealing with that. You also have to worry about this Flutter Mane taking damage because there are two physical Pokemon with priority moves.
Yeah.
And that's why the Flutter Mane has to leave.
Flutter Mane is leaving the scene here. Ogerpon, the great friend, comes into the battlefield.
That's so true. Ogerpon is a great friend.
We're not going to give any more spoilers to the Teal Mask just yet. We would go more into detail than that, but we are legally not obliged to do that.
There's another Ogerpon, but this one's not a great friend.
Oh my god. Okay, Ogerpon's Mold Breaker Battle for both sides. Anthony's going to terrestrialize his Tornadus.
Interesting.
It's going to be into that grass type.
That is very interesting. I definitely was not expecting to see that. Maybe anticipating the Surging Strikes coming into it and not trying to set up the Sunny Day.
Weakwind Storm is the option. His both of these grass type Pokemon for super effective damage. This is why Tornadus still is a great Pokemon to this day. Oh, the reads the Terra with that U-turn indirectly for Allan.
Yeah, that was a really good damage there. I mean, it was really good damage. It was a good read. At the same time, you probably... Tornadus is still doing its job. Tornadus is still going to be able to set Tailwind, set Sunny Day, whatever it wants to do.
Landorus comes in from Allan's only intimidating this Ogerpon for importance, but that's a permanent intimidate because now Ogerpon can't terrestrialize.
Yeah, and you do have to keep in mind that Anthony also now knows that Allan does not have either of his snow Pokemon. No Alola Ninetales, no Iron Bundle. We've seen all 4 of Allan's Pokemon. So if Anthony wants to set up Sun, he knows that nothing can stop the Sun from getting set up or stop it from dropping off. It's just going to happen. Alternatively, you could go for Tailwind this turn and force Allan's hand at actually dealing with the Tornadus before it gets Tailwind and Sunny Day up.
I was also about to say another thing to note. Allan's not used his Terra, and Terra Flying Landers looks pretty good here, but instead we don't see a Terra. We see a Spiky Shield from Anthony's Ogerpon. What does the Tornadus do here? I would assume the Tailwind comes out from his side as both Ogerpons go for Spiky Shield.
Matched Spiky Shields.
And the Tailwind does come out from Anthony, so he'll have the speed control for this next 3-turn phase, and this Landorus opted to U-turn into the Tornadus, and it is enough for a knockout.
Yeah, I think that's the best.
Oh my god, another critical hit.
It is a critical hit. I don't think that critical hit mattered. I think Landorus just has a gigantic attack stat. And just did a ton of damage there. But either way, I think that was a really good call. Don't worry about the Ogerpon for right now. Just try to make sure. At this point, now the question is, okay, is there a Ninetales in the back to set up Sun? And if not, am I upset about that fact? Are either of us upset about that fact? Because the Ogerpon Hearthflame, now at -1, does have the Sun now, though. So, not necessarily at a huge disadvantage for Anthony.
Yeah, that Sun is going to go up here, and Ogerpon for Anthony is at -1, while Ogerpon for Allan is at perfectly neutral, and he still has a terrestrialization option available.
That
although,
is true, but you have to keep the speed in mind.
Yeah, I was gonna say you have to keep the speed in mind because this Ninetales can just get off a Heat Wave, knock out both these Pokemon potentially. Ogerpon can also just switch out to Flutter Mane in order to keep its health at full and don't have to worry about that Intimidate from Landers that Allan may bring in a bit later.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be interested to see, because the Rillaboom does have the Assault Vest, so I'm not 100% sure if it would get the knockout.
And Allan's going for his Terra. And this is going to be this Heart Flame form Ogerpon now going to neutral attack.
Yeah, no, that's Allan, so it's going to be at +1, and it's in the sun. So this will do pretty ridiculous damage to anything it hits.
That's if it survives.
Assuming that it's able to, get through this turn.
Okay, well, the Fake Out goes into the Ogerpon, so Ogerpon for Anthony is not going to do anything. The Ninetales does get out of its Heat Wave, wants a Resistance, and the Resistance actually does matter as Rillaboom goes down to a Heat Wave, and Ogerpon no longer being weak to that Grass type into neutral damage actually ends up mattering because now this Ogerpon is able to get this IE Cultural off. If this is to Ogerpon, this may not be so bad. It is going to be to Ogerpon, and down it goes.
Yep, down it goes.
And another critical hit.
Another critical hit. That's going to be fun to see for the next 2 months. And yeah, that was good damage, and it also took it with just enough health. I think it would it'll be able to take another Heat Wave from Ninetales. The issue now is this Flutter Mane, who is way faster than everyone else, and also will do some pretty crazy damage with the Dazzling Gleam. I don't know what you do about this.
It is a choice specs boosted and photosynthesis boosted.
What do you do about this? It will outspeed everything.
I mean, for 2 more turns, because I think Anthony still only has 2 more turns to tail.
I guess the answer is Grassy Glide Aqua Jet into Flutter Mane and hope that does enough damage.
I said the Grassy Terrain's still up, because if your Grassy Terrain's not up, it's still going to be doing regular damage. Grassy Terrain is still up. For this Flutter Mane is a one-hit knockout! Wow, that +1 attack boost actually giving Ogerpon enough power to use that Grassy Glide to make a look at the Rillaboom of the past generation. Energy Ball from this Ninetales is going to be able to one-hit knock out this Urshifu with another critical hit. How many crits did we get this set? Is everyone secretly holding a Scope Lens?
Yeah, this is some ridiculous critical hit chances here.
And now it just comes down to Landers and Ogerpon against Ninetales, and I think Allan's going to go back-to-back finals.
I think he will indeed. The Landorus Stomping Tantrum should be doing a lot of damage to this Ninetales.
Anthony, I think he needs to get a double critical hit if he is to win this set, because the critical hit should be enough to knock out the Ogerpon. I don't think a normal Heat Wave is enough to knock out Landorus.
I agree.
The Grassy Glide from Ogerpon into this Ninetales, half health.
Way more damage than I thought it would do.
Heat Wave does double connect. Do we get a critical hit? We do not get a critical hit, and I think even if there was a critical hit, Landorus would have been able to survive that hit. But instead, Allan Martinez returns on another critical hit. That's 6 critical hits this whole battle. We've seen so many Scope Lenses today, but doesn't matter. Allan goes to the grand finals of Gen Challenge Sunday #2 with a 2-0 victory over Anthony Plasencia.
Yeah, and I really like that. And I thought that Allan there showed the power of... it's weird to say this, but the battle where Alolan Ninetales wasn't there showed the power of Alolan Ninetales. Alolan Ninetales can be very useful when it is there, and it can also work around a team that doesn't need it at all. That Ogerpon Hearthflame honestly benefited from the fact that Sun was set up pretty consistently, and the fact that Allan showed, hey, I have a Snow Warning Pokemon, I want to set Snow, prompted Anthony to bring both Tornadus and Ninetales and get that Sun set up, which then allowed the Hearthflame Ogerpon to just Ivy Cudgel everything and do ridiculous amounts of damage. I really liked how that was set up altogether. It was just really well played from Allan.
And because of all that well-played battles from Allan, he'll see back-to-back Gym Challenge finals as he'll await the winner between Brandon Davis and Grant Weldon. And yeah, that is a rematch. You did hear me right. It was a rematch from round number 5, ladies and gentlemen. So whoever wins that set will play against Allan Martinez to see who will face Allan in the finals. And you'll see who the winner is right after this break.